Hello, Mark. This is Nathan, your editor. First of all, thank you for choosing me for this project. I've learned a lot about real estate, and I always appreciate learning. So I just wanted to speak with you briefly about what I did for your book. The writing is not that bad. There are a couple of issues that turn up quite a bit in the book. For example, you use the word hints 47 times in the book, and you have 99 better real estate decisions. That means you use the word hints almost every other entry, and it's kind of like telling the same joke over and over and over again. Um, and you also like to use the word since. I didn't count how many times you used that, but it seems like it's in almost every other sentence. So I tried to vary the words a little bit, and tried to remove hints completely. Um, it just doesn't have that kind of conversational tone. And you have a high vocabulary, or what I call a high vocabulary. You use words like studiously and exogenous. I like words like that, but people don't talk like that. And I don't think that your audience, if you're writing for people like me who want to sell their house, um, people don't talk like that. So I wanted to give the book a little bit of a gentler tone, but I left most of your higher vocabulary is still preserved. I took out words like hence and thus. Um, that would stop somebody in their tracks. But if they don't know a word, it's kind of on them to look it up. So I didn't change that because I thought I would change your voice too much. So, but that's something that I would keep in mind if I were you. Another issue is gender inclusion. About what I mean by that is the pronoun he and the pronoun him and his. They do not include women anymore. Whenever I was growing up in elementary school, I'm 35. When I was growing up, um, they taught us to use. I can't get my hat right. I'm sorry. Bald. You have to live with the reflection. Um, Whenever I was in school, they told me that whenever you're referring to um, an unknown person, you always use he, and it includes women. Well, now that feminism has come around, no longer includes women. So whenever you use he as a gender neutral pronoun, your reader does not read it gender neutral anymore. It's now incorrect English. You have to use he slash she, or my favorite is s slash he, for she, he. And you gotta be very careful with that because a lot of readers now are very sensitive to that kind of thing. I teach graduate and undergraduate courses at two or three different universities, not all at the same time, but all of them now. And we're talking about very conservative Christian schools. They will not allow me to accept a research paper that does not have gender inclusive language. So that just shows you how progressive this idea is and how pervasive it is. I mean, if very conservative Christian schools are going in that route. So just want to warn you about that. And I corrected most of them. You might find some of them, some of the he issues in the book, but I tried to catch most of them, and I will keep an eye out for that as we proofread. Those are the main issues. Now, your writing is good, but the structure of the book, I have a couple of suggestions for you. And I think I emailed you this because I noticed it right off the bat. I think you should change your title. 99 Better Real Estate Decisions. Now, 99 is what's going to turn people off. Now, if I were you, I was thinking about how ways I can explain this to you. If you're interested in something and you don't know much about it, are you going to want to read a book, 99 suggestions on how to play guitar, or 99 suggestions on how to ski, or whatever? You don't hear of a 99-step plan. You hear of a 7-step plan, or a 12-step plan, or maybe a 15-step plan. I had a client, another real estate client actually, who wrote a book, 19 different steps on how to improve your real estate sales. And I thought 19 was way too many. You need to simplify this for the reader. This does not mean that you need to um, cut down on your 99 suggestions. What you need to do is divide them up, and three parts is not enough. You need to have about 7 to 10 steps in each in each major step. So you have 99, it's about 100. So you need about 10 different steps divided into 10 different subcategories. So you're keeping all your 99 suggestions and just dividing it into 10 chapters. And so I would suggest that you do chapters instead of parts to your book, because you need to divide it up a little bit more. And I think this would be very easy for you, and you would get a lot of mileage out of it. Because all you need to do is group your group 10 different sections together and just summarize what it is with a beginning introduction to the chapter and then a conclusion to the chapter. And really, you're not making a logical argument, so you don't need a conclusion. You just need a, where do we go from here, or a summary. What I would do is introduce the reader to your wonderful suggestions and summarize in that introduction, tell them what you're going to do with your 10 suggestions, and then tie it all together with a summary, or where do we go from here. This is the best practice that you learn from these 10 smaller best practices. So that way your reader can remember 10 steps, and then from there they can remember the 10 sub-steps if they really want to. But you need to think about, and I would encourage you to think about, what you really want your reader to take away from the book. They're not going to take away 99 things. They're going to take away maybe 4 or 5 things. And if you give them 10, it just hones in on the things that are really important. And you can sell the book on those 10 issues. You don't really have anything to sell if it's 99 things. But if you tell the reader what's important, you can have something for them to buy. And I think that this is something else I've been thinking about. I think that your book is very well written and you have something very important to say, but you're just laying it all down on the reader without much introduction and without much guidance. And you can't expect the reader to find what's important on their own. You have to show them and guide the reader through it gently. And I think you can do that, and I think more people would be interested in buying your book if that is the case. And they'd be more interested in finishing reading it. If they start reading it, you get a little discouraged. So what I did for you was, because that was such an issue, and the writing wasn't so much the issue, I went ahead and did some formatting work on the book, because you needed to not only divide up the 99, major things into smaller bits and group them together, but within those, we needed to divide up your points into paragraphs. All 99 of these were grouped basically in one paragraph each, and it needs to be broken up for the reader so the reader can easily move from point to point that you're making within these larger paragraphs. So my first suggestion on structure, aside from adding chapters, is to divide up your points into paragraphs and remove all the numbers, and because for one thing, none of the platforms that you're using support the numbers that you're using. In other words, whenever you have a number, like say you have the number 1, and then you have the text out beside it, Microsoft Word puts a tab in between the number and the text. And the different programs that we're going to be using, and we don't have a choice but to use these programs. Like we're going to use CreateSpace for print. We're going to use Kindle for Kindle, Nook for Nook. I mean, you can't use any other program besides those to upload into their system. And they all read those tabs differently, and we can't control that. So one edition of your book is going to have a number 1 and a text right beside it. It's going to look pretty. And then another Another program is going to read the text. They're going to put two tabs and scoot all the text over and make a mess. So we have to get rid of those numbers. I can go back. I mean, if you absolutely have to have the numbers, which you don't, but if we divide it up into chapters, it's not going to be a big deal. But if you have to have a list like you're listing it out now, we're going to have to go back and enter in all the numbers manually, which is not a big deal. It's just not going to look like most books. Um, anyway, I'll show you what I've done. So this is your beautiful cover page, and this is called a half title page. And I don't like the way this looks with the 99 there, but I mean, if you're in love with it, that's one thing. But I like just Better Real Estate Decisions by Mark O'Donnell. And then what you can do is add a subtitle. You know, Better Real Estate Decisions, 99 ways to whatever. Or 10 years of experience works for you. Or, you know, you can come up with something that better encapsulates your book and doesn't throw readers off. Because this 99, to me, it says, please do not buy my book. You know, or please don't read me. I'm going to overload you with data. You know, this is going to be a really tough read, and it's not a tough read. This is a very easy read. Even though you have a high vocabulary, you get your point across very, very well, and you know you have a nice conversational style, and you're very informative. Obviously, you get a lot of experience. Blah blah blah. You know, the 99 in front of it does not speak to what you're doing, in my opinion. So what I would do is Better Real Estate Decisions, something cool. And then something cool will be in italics by Mark O'Donnell. And then we have your copyright page. Now a lot of stuff on here I'm sorry, I'm a little tired, is optional. You know, and what I mean is this right here. I'm not trying to slip anything by you. I want to tell you up front. Um, I can put my company name here for you. You know, instead of no publisher at all, you can be published in the United States by Sharper Cool Books. That's me. I run a company called Sharper Cool Books. It is a consulting firm for authors, just like you. What I do is help folks like you publish books. So this will lead people to my website, where I will feature you as a featured author if you so choose. And I can promote your book on my website. I have about 10,000 people or so visit my website. Not as regularly as I like them to, but I do have some traffic on my site, and also I can promote you on Goodreads and stuff like that. So, you know, just kind of you scratch my back, I scratch yours. You know, everybody that buys your book is going to see my name too. So, anyway, this is something cool if you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, it's fine with me. Most of my clients do, but again, it's your book. Printed by Create Space. This is the printer. Now you have to put this. You have to put this on this page in order to be printed by Create Space, and then you have to put on Kindle if you want to publish on Kindle. So we gotta leave this, and we have to put your ISBN number here. Now, I strongly recommend that you get an ISBN number if you have any intention on selling the book. It will get your book in front of more people. It's how the book is registered. It's how you get your ISBN number. Your USBN number on the back of the book is tied to that, and distributors know who you are. It basically gets you into catalogs. And it also is one more thing. You can search on Google. Like you can go on Google, search for ISBN number, boom, your metadata pops up, and you get to control the metadata. And I feel like I'm speaking in Sanskrit, but you get to control the book's information better and sell it better. If you go ahead and spend a little money, it's $150 to get your ISBN number, and it's actually $400 how much you need to spend to get all the ISBN numbers that you need for all the ways that you're publishing your book. Now you can get away with not spending any money on ISBNs, but Create Space and Barnes & Noble or whoever, they're going to be controlling all of your data. So they are going to be controlling how people find your book instead of you, which means they're not going to ever change it. You know, once it goes into their system, they don't care if your book sells. because you're not a major asset for them. But if you control how your book sells, you can update it once every 3 or 6 months according to how people are looking for real estate books. And I can show you how to do that. It's easy and you'll sell more. So anyway, worth the money in my opinion, but you don't have to do it. But I do need to know what you want to do. I can get it for free through them. You do not buy ISBN numbers through me. You buy it through another company that sells them. So I can help you with that when the time comes, which is soon. This is your dedication page, whoever you want to dedicate it to. And then your acknowledgments at the front of the book, right before the table of contents. Now, here, your table of contents here, I'm still building the book. The reason why it says not defined is because I originally had this formatted as the other contents. Let me go down here and see if they... I've been having some problems with the file, and it's not there anymore. Okay. It's been comical tonight trying to finish this thing up. But anyway, this is not an issue, and it probably will not be in the file that I send you. But anyway, as of now, you have 3 parts. We're not going to have 99 entries in your contents. It's not good for a book of your length. Now, if you were an encyclopedia or if you were doing anything else where your entries were more than 1 or 2 pages, yes, you could have 99 entries, but it's just too cumbersome. You know, you have a nice clean table of contents, and if you divide your book up more, as I suggest, you're still going to have a 1-page table of contents for approximately 150-page book. So, I mean, if your book was 1,000 pages, it would be different, but because you're a smaller book, you really don't need an 8, 9, 10-page table of contents. So anyway, this makes a book a lot more manageable and easier to navigate for your reader. So that's that. And I want to change the view here. This is how a book is supposed to be read. You know, imagine you're looking at this, you know, like an open book with a left page and a right page, and that's how the book is formatted right now. So you have the middle spine of the book here, and it actually looks like it kind of flipped around for Word. So I'm going to close Word here and look at it through close PDF. I'm sorry. Look at it through Word. And the reason why I was looking at it through PDF is because it was bigger. But you can kind of get a picture of what's going on. I'm not going to discuss the entire book like this, but I just want to show you. This is where the spine of the book is. I'm explaining to you why it's going to look weird whenever you look at it in Word. Okay, so you see how this right side is very close to the right, and this left side is very close to the left. That's because the spine of the book is here. And I have to format it so that it's compensating. So whenever I send it through the PDF version and then send it on through into the printer, it's formatted so that the spine of the book is right there. And then this is the outside edges of the book. And whenever you look at it, one page at a time, like most people look at Word documents, it's going to look a little funny because you're going to see, well, the spine of the book is on this side, and then when you go to the next page, the spine of the book is on the other side. That's just because you're viewing it 1 page at a time and not like a book. So that's that. Okay, I want to show you how to navigate through your editing. Microsoft Word has an interesting way to view documents. You can view Final, and this is the excuse me. This is the final version of the document without any kind of markings on it. This is just a regular old underlining of errors or stuff that Microsoft Word thinks is an error, but you don't see anything that I've done, or rather, you see everything I've done, but you don't see proof of it. Now, if you go to Final, showing markup, this is going to show you everything that I've done. And what you need to do is go through your manuscript and approve or don't approve of all of these little changes. And then you'll see that my comments are in blue and my changes are in red. Now, whenever you see a deleted thing and there's nothing there, it means that I deleted an extra space. There were a lot of extra spaces in the document, and I deleted them. Some extra hard enters is what we call them in publishing. Several of those, you can leave those alone or you can check them off. It's up to you. But please don't delete these. Talk to me first if you want to delete these, and if you have any inclination of sending it back to me. It's going to mess with the formatting a little bit. The reason why I deleted all this extra space out is because the programs that we're using, they do not know how to read blank space whenever it's a hard enter. They do know how to read this blank space. Now this blank space is tied to the style here. You can see how it highlights it. I've told it in styles that there needs to be this much space in between the words here. But if you hit a hard enter, like if you wanted to put some space between the paragraphs, you would not do this. You wouldn't put two enters. You would have to go into the style of the paragraph, which is over here in home. These styles here, I called this one no spacing. You have to go in, modify the style, and put space in. So it's very complex whenever you want to do that for the entire document, because everything has to be in a style and controlled by styles, or the other programs do not know how to read it. So anyway, this is your introduction, and you can see in red, this is stuff that I added. I think you had slashes there, and I put in and. So just go through there, make your changes. I think that because you have a well-written book, I think that the actual editing part is not going to take that long, maybe 2 hours, depending on how fast of a reader you are, and how well you're working. If you're being interrupted all the time or stuff like that. I don't think it's going to take you that long. Now, it might take you a long time to write your chapters, your introduction and conclusion, your chapters. The best thing you do with that is not stress about it, because all you're doing is introducing and concluding. It's the easiest thing to do in writing, in my opinion, as long as you don't get worked up about it. I've had about half of my clients, they turn in books like this to me that don't have all the nice stuff that you got to do for your reader, to get your reader to read. A lot of authors, and I was like this too when I first started. You assume that the reader knows how to navigate through your book. Like you assume that you've written something easy to understand. But the fact of the matter is, people need to have their hand held and walked patiently through the book. And you're very patient with your reader as it is. But if you just add that extra mileage, all of your trimmings will be just as great as the rest of the book. Right now your introductions, I think you have an introduction to like one of your parts, and it just doesn't hold up the quality of the rest of the writing, if that makes sense. I mean, you're welcome to publish it as it is, but I think it could be better. I think I've said everything I need to say. If you have any questions, I'm here for you. And of course, I will be doing a lot more work to this book. Let me tell you some things that are not finished. There are no page numbers at the bottom. The reason for that is the footers are kind of messed up right now. I mean, you can't see that, but when I worked with them, some of the footers are different. This one's like 1/16 of an inch higher than all the other pages. So I got to figure out what's wrong with that. And this is good. Your headers have your name on your even pages, your book title on the odd pages. That might not be consistent throughout the whole book. It changes with certain types of formatting, and you might see stuff that changes, as you approve stuff. So um, don't be don't be concerned about that. So I divided up your work into paragraphs. I think that's a lot easier to read. Sometimes you'll see a paragraph only has a sentence or two. That's because you changed topic in the middle of a paragraph, and it really didn't fit. And I didn't think that I should delete that material. So I've only deleted like 4 sentences in your whole book, which is very rare for me. Most of my authors have trouble staying on topic, and I think it's because they don't edit their work before they send it to me. Like I think that you put a little bit more thought into your book than most authors do at this stage, and believe me, I appreciate that, um, and I think that's going to help you to correct it quickly or to revise it. So you can see I took out the numbers. Again, you don't need those. If you divide it up into like 10, uh, you know, 10 different chapters with 10 different uh, of these points, you don't need numbers because the reader knows where you're going. And I did remove all the references within the text to numbers. I said something like as I said before, um, instead of saying as I said in point 27, because all the numbers are gone. I'm hoping that you're not going to keep the numbers, but you don't need the numbers if you tell the reader, these are the things that we're going to talk about in the chapter, and you'll say, you can even subdivide it even more. Like if you have 3 points, and often you do, if you have 3 points, 3 subpoints within a chapter, you can say these are the 3 different ways that you blah blah blah, and then you just list those 3 things, and you say this is what we're going to talk about. It's very simple, and it's going to help the format of your book and the structure of your book tremendously. So I hope I haven't repeated myself too much. I had to do this in one take, but like I said, I'm more than happy to exchange emails with you or to look at sample pages or whatever. So hope you're well, and look forward to hearing from you.